Let's be honest, everyone who's in crypto is in this space for one reason, and that's to make a lot of money. And in this video, I'll be talking about some altcoins which I think have huge potential to hit 5x, 10x, maybe even higher gains. But more importantly, I'll be also talking about where we are in the current market cycle and why you need to be really careful this time around, because not only crypto is as risky as it's always been, but this market cycle is definitely different and much more tricky to navigate. I'm Andy, and this is Crypto Like a Pro, a channel where I talk about everything crypto, NFTs, and Web3 related. So why this cycle is different? Well, first of all, I don't mean it as it's some sort of a super cycle and the price will continue going up forever. That's never going to happen. This is not how markets work. There are always market cycles, there are always pullbacks. Don't let anyone fool you into thinking that this time is different means the price will just go up forever. It won't. There will be big nasty drop probably sooner than later, and I'll talk about that later in this video. What I mean by the cycle being different is the fact that on one hand we are still early in the timeline of the market cycle. We are still before the halving. Bitcoin shouldn't really be going up as it is for another 6 to 9 months. But at the same time, well, Bitcoin is going up in value really quickly. We hit new all-time high. In fact, we hit 3 all-time highs 3 days in a row. So in this respect, we are not really early anymore. A lot of altcoins are moving quite rapidly. They're already 10, 15x up from their bear market lows. And that's why it's so difficult to navigate this cycle, because on one hand, price action is suggesting that we are no longer early. But at the same time, the timeline is suggesting that, yes, we still are. And therefore, there are two possibilities. Either this market cycle will finish much earlier than most people expect. I always thought that the end of the cycle will be somewhere in late 2025, maybe early 2026. Now we have to consider the possibility that it may all end in late 2024 or early 2025, so about a year early. The other possibility is that the price will continue going up, we'll then have a big pullback and a lot of choppy sideways movement, essentially long cool-off period, and then next proper leg up. In this case, I would expect this cycle to be much longer, potentially as long as originally expected, but there will be this long, nasty break in the middle. Kind of similar to what happened back in 2021. But remember, this was already roughly when expected in the market cycle. That was already, well, halving was in mid-2020, and that's 2021, right? So already we are a good few months after the halving. And at the beginning of the year, we had this massive move up. This was spring 2021, when market was massively overheated, and actually this was too early in the market cycle, similar to what's happening now. And then we had this massive crash, and actually this crash took Bitcoin from 65K all the way down to, well, at some point below 30K, basically 55% drop. And we had quite a few months of, well, sideways movement, some recovery, but basically it took us until September or even October for things to properly start moving up. And then we had a market cycle peak right here. So something like this, but potentially even longer scale, is entirely possible. Big crash maybe around the halving, and then long, relatively boring summer, and then another leg up late this year and throughout the next year. I think that's very possible. And personally, I think that's actually the more welcomed version of the market cycle, because the longer the cycle goes, the bigger the chance that we'll hit higher figures. When you see moves like this, where Bitcoin went up by already around 90% without any major pullback on the way, well, without any pullback on the way, we had one candle, but that was eaten up over the next couple of days. You have to be prepared that this has to correct eventually. We may still go up higher, maybe we'll hit 80K, maybe more, but there has to be correction at some point. And the later it happens, the more nasty the drop is going to be, because people are getting now into this mindset of, oh, the price just continues going up. this time is different, as in it will continue going up. People start trading on leverage or trade more on leverage, start over-investing. And then when that drop eventually comes, it feels much, much worse because you are kind of surprised by it. Even if you were expecting it, it's still a bit of a surprise because we were going up for so long. So people overreact, leveraged positions gets liquidated, and the drop is much, much more nasty. That's why, if anything, I would welcome 20 or 30% drop rather soon, because the longer we keep going up, the bigger the chance that when it finally drops, it may be much, much bigger drop, maybe even around 50% or so. Why am I focusing so much about Bitcoin? Well, if there is big drop in Bitcoin price, altcoins will get hit quite hard. People may roll their profits from Bitcoin to altcoins, but reality is that a lot of people probably won't. I think in this respect, we're again early in the market cycle. So if you buy all your altcoins right now, well, essentially you'll be making a loss, and then you have to wait for the market to recover. So again, you have to play it really smart, maybe buy into some of those altcoins, but also be prepared for that pullback. You have to be prepared for pretty much any scenario. If the pullback doesn't happen, if somehow we just continue going up and up, well, that's fine. There will be more and more projects appearing, and you will be able to invest in those, and you will still have cash to invest. And if the pullback happens, then, well, you have cash ready for it, and you can buy the altcoins you originally wanted to buy. You don't want to be in a position where you deploy all your capital, the price drops, and you cannot buy anything more at a lower price point. And remember, there will be always opportunity to jump into something else. For example, in the last crypto bull run, we had DeFi summer in summer 2020, before even that big move happened when it comes to Bitcoin and ETH. Then, well, Bitcoin went up, then ETH, then we had altcoin season in early 2021. Then the prices dropped, but NFTs started becoming a thing. People made a ton of money on NFTs, and then gaming, that didn't really started happening, crypto gaming, until like late summer 2021. And that peaked in late 2021, and some of the NFTs were peaking in 2022. So even though Bitcoin was already done in the market cycle in early November 2021, gaming altcoins and NFTs were still going on strong for another 3 or 4 months. So just because you miss out on one thing doesn't mean that you missed out on everything, right? Like I said, it's better to play it safe. Make sure that you always have capital to deploy. If you're making profit, take out some of that profit. There will be always opportunities, and you never lose by taking profit out, right? You always want to be in a position where you have capital to deploy, and basically you are prepared for every situation, the price going up or going down. So that's enough about the market cycles and strategy and so on. I will now focus on specific altcoins, and I divided them into a few different sections and a few different risk levels, so you can look at those projects and see what you may be potentially interested in, or you can see how I'm picking projects, and then you can find the ones you like yourself. As always, none of this is financial advice. Investing in crypto is extremely risky, and especially if you're investing in various altcoins in those still relatively early stages of the market, nothing is certain. So of course, it's entirely possible that you will lose all your money. Most people, in fact, lose their money in crypto. But hey, we are all here to play, and there are some opportunities. So let's have a look at what's out there. So first of all, CDFI Fund. If you watched this channel before, you know I keep talking about this token all the time. Still relatively low, well, mid-range market cap, 330 million. It's a launchpad, gaming launchpad, did extremely well in the past. If we look at the price action, I'm very, very bullish on it. It's going up very nicely. But there's one thing here which is important, and not many people are talking about it. And in fact, I didn't talk about it before either. If you look at the market cap, and that's not just CDFI Fund, that will be applicable to most projects which were here in the last bull run or before, you will see that if you look at the price is still nowhere near where it was in the last bull run. We are currently still 68% down, right? The previous all-time high was almost $17. However, if you look at the market cap, we actually hit new all-time high when it comes to market cap, higher than in 2021. And that's because during this whole period, those 3 or 2.5 years between the last bull run and now, there were new tokens released to the market. That's perfectly normal. That happens with pretty much all projects. That's why there is difference between market cap and fully diluted valuation, or circulating supply of tokens and total supply, because those additional tokens are gradually being released to the market, just like Bitcoin is gradually being mined. So basically the market cap is now much higher, and therefore if we expect that this token will hit its previous all-time high, so around $17, well, it will have to hit market cap, which is much, much higher than it was in the previous bull run. This is fine. This is perfectly likely to happen because overall there will be much more money, most likely, in the whole crypto space. But this is something to be aware of, that you not only should be looking at the price of a token in this versus previous, or the current price versus previous all-time high, but also compare market caps where they are, because if this value was much, much lower, then essentially it would be much easier for that token to grow, if that makes sense. Next project I'm interested in is another launchpad. I like launchpads because they have some actual utility. As you know, most of the crypto is just trading hopes and dreams. A lot of projects, they either don't really have anything behind them, or they are still in early stages of development. Basically, there is the idea that yes, at some point they will be useful in some way, but at the moment they aren't really. With launchpads, well, they help to launch other projects in the crypto space. So even though the utility of those projects may be limited just to the crypto circle, it's still a real world utility that they actually do something. And there is usually a big incentive to hold those tokens, not just buy them hoping that they will go up in value, but also hold them so you can actually participate in those new project launches and make even more money. So it makes perfect sense to invest in those projects. At least that's how I see it. And if you look at paid network, it's massively, massively down still, 95%. So technically this has potential to go up 20 times in price, just to hit previous all-time high. Low market cap, below 100 million. And if you look at its market cap over time, you see it's very different than CDFI. Its current market cap is actually far, far lower still than it was in the previous bull run. So in a way, this token should go up much easier because essentially it doesn't require quite as much capital, or nowhere near as much capital, for it to grow. So that's why I'm really, really bullish on it. Another launchpad is Engine Starter, even lower market cap, 35 million, 96% down. So again, ton of potential for growth. This one is not really moving that much, so a bit more of a risky one. I prefer tokens which already are showing more signs of life. This is still a bit too flat for my liking, but not necessarily completely bad. Also, the market cap is quite high, as in comparison to where it was in the last bull run. So this is definitely a higher risk project, but you can basically diversify your portfolio, right? Get some which are safer and some which are more risky, put less money in the risky ones. And then if they grow, well, in theory, they should grow much, much higher. So you should be able to make much more money. And if they don't grow, well, at least your loss is compensated by other projects, hopefully. One more launchpad is Communitas. I invested in this one in the previous bull run. This one has tiny market cap, less than 5 million. So a ton of potential for growth, still massively down comparing to the last bull run. And if you compare market caps, it's still down comparing to where it was. With such small market cap, of course, it's much more risky project. The price can be much more volatile, less predictable, but it ticks all the right boxes, right? It did well in the last bull run, pulled back actually not as bad as many other projects during the bear market, and it's already recovering. So definitely something worth considering. I mean, those 4 projects are actually, the way I showed them, in the order in which I showed them, are kind of how I feel about the risk to reward ratio. CDFI fund, I mean, I'm very confident about this one, as much as I can be about anything in crypto. But the reward here is probably about, I mean, it should comfortably do another 3 or 4x. I think it will do 5x or maybe even more than that. But it probably won't do 20x or anything on that scale. Then paid network, a bit more risk, but it should do better than, in terms of reward, than CDFI. And then engine and communitas, I think higher risk, but potentially high reward as well. So that's kind of how you could structure your portfolio if you wanted to invest in launchpads, right? From safer to more risky ones. Just my thoughts on this. Then we have a couple of gaming projects, and Illuvium is a great example of a project that did really well in the last bull run, coming back up, but this one has very high market cap. And if you look at the market cap, actually it's nearing its previous all-time high. So I don't think it will do as well as what those numbers suggest. Maybe it will, but I think it will still do multiple times gains, but probably not quite as much as this figure suggests, which would indicate that it should easily do 10x or more. Maybe it will, but I think it won't be quite as high. D-Race, however, is one that I'm extremely bullish on because it has low market cap, which is matching fully diluted valuation, which is great. If we look at the price action, it's still down 95%, so it should do about 20x. If we look at the market cap, that's actually also really good. It's currently 45 million, and at the top it was way over 200 million. So this product should, I mean, essentially all the numbers point to it potentially doing really well. It fits the gaming narrative, it fits the crypto gambling narrative, it has some big influencers behind it, so people with big following will be pushing this project up. So I'm definitely very bullish on this one. One slightly surprising thing is that recently it's not been moving as fast as some of the other projects. So even if you look at the last 3 months, well, if anything, it's actually going down a bit. If you look at the last year, it picked up very nicely, then had a bit of a correction, but it's now on this nice upwards trajectory. So bit strange that it's not moving up as fast as some of the other projects, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be still a good one to get into if you feel like you missed out on some other projects. That's at least how I see it. Then we have Altura, projects I mentioned many times, and I mentioned it many times because it's worth mentioning. Still low market cap, good balance between market cap and fully diluted valuation, still nicely down from its previous all-time high. Again, some big partnerships, so it should do very well. If we look at the market cap, that's still far lower where it was in the previous bull run. So again, a project that should do really well. I mean, assuming that the bull run will continue, this should easily do 5 to 10x, easily. Of course, there's always that assumption that the bull run will continue. If it doesn't, then, well, all those theories are completely worthless, right? But we are assuming, well, you have to play with certain assumptions, and that's that we are in the bull run and things will continue going up. And then some newer projects, which I mentioned in my previous video. First, I will start with OPSEC, which is interesting because it's going up and down and sideways. It just doesn't know what it wants to do in life, which basically means that it's still quite a decent purchase, I think. I mean, a lot of those projects, AI projects, pumped a lot recently, but it's down almost 20%. And it has quite regular pullbacks. It has good numbers. it's, again, one of those which I think will do really well. And I'm always slightly less comfortable buying into a pump, but this one had enough pullbacks for it to essentially be still a good purchase in my view. And then we have 0x0, and that's a slightly different scenario because first of all, market cap is higher, and also it just had this massive pump. So while I'm bullish on the project overall, I wouldn't be buying it right now because recently it's just been going up and up. I mean, over the last month, it went up about 4x. I have nothing against the project. If the price pulls back, essentially at the moment it just sits too close to all-time high, I would be very much interested in buying it. But this is a good example where strategy comes into play and looking at the crypto market overall. Basically, if Bitcoin pulls back and if altcoins dip, this is definitely one of the projects I will be buying if the price dips. Currently, considering how rapidly it went up and how close it is to its all-time high, I will stay on the sidelines. Basically, I will just treat it as, okay, I missed out on this one. And if there is an opportunity in the future, great. If not, I'm just moving on to different things. Again, that's where strategy comes into play. That's why it's so important. And then finally, Node AI or GPU. I'm not sure if I mentioned this one before. It's a bit weird because here it doesn't show the market cap and the circulating supply, but the total supply is 100 million. And if you multiply that by the current price, well, that gives you more or less fully diluted valuation. It's a bit off, but there can be some small differences. So that to me indicates that the current market cap is around 120 million. And this one had a bit of a pullback recently. So it's actually down 35%, which makes it quite attractive. And I may actually get some GPU because basically previously when I looked at it, I think it was on this move up right here. And I felt like, okay, I missed out on it. And now it had a decent pullback. I think it may be worth getting into it because, again, it ticks all the right boxes. If I have anything against it, it's just the fact that it was pumping up like crazy. And I don't want to buy into that pump. So after this pullback, yeah, I think it's worth considering. Like I said, similar thing if 0x0 pulls back now, I don't know, 20, 30%, I would consider getting into this one. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. These are the projects I'm currently looking at. I already invested in some of them. As I mentioned, I'm considering investing in a couple of others, either now or when the price corrects. I think it's really important to keep an eye on what Bitcoin is doing. Like I said, I think we are due a major pullback, easily 20 or 30%. And if that happens, it will be a great opportunity to buy more altcoins, or even Bitcoin for that matter, if that's what you want to buy. We are still early in the bull run, so there will be still plenty of opportunities, but at the same time, the price action is already quite volatile and you have to be careful how you play it. If you wait for too long and basically you don't take any action at all, you will probably miss this bull run altogether, or you'll be buying way too late into the pump and it will be much harder to make profits. At the same time, if you go all in now, you may still get burned because, like I said, I think we will have a big pullback. My strategy is deploy some of the capital and make sure that you are prepared to buy more if the price goes down. If anything, when it comes to my Bitcoin position, I'm prepared actually to potentially sell some of it if price continues going up rapidly over the next couple of days. If we hit around 80, 85K, I will start selling my Bitcoin. Certainly not all of it, because there's always possibility that it will just continue going up. But I think it will be quite a sensible thing to sell some because, again, like I said, I think there will be a pullback and then we'll have a next leg up. So I think that's it from me for today. Hope you found this video useful. If you like this content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, please put them in the comment section. And if you are completely new to crypto, check out my courses. Great place to start is Intro to Crypto. For just $29, you will find out everything you need to start trading altcoins. All the information is here, how to buy your first crypto, how to buy Ethereum, how to interact with exchanges, how to transfer crypto between different wallets, where to find those altcoins because you cannot buy them on main exchanges, and then essentially, well, how to make money from crypto. So definitely worth checking out if you are completely new in this space. I think that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.